Hello there, here's Bruno again. You are watching Ink and Words. Welcome back. Let's talk about a very interesting and intense comic, Echoes. This 5 issues comic was written by Joshua Hale Fialkov with art from Joshua Hale and letters by Troy Petteri. The story was published between 2010 and 2011, published by Top Cow Productions and imprint of Image Comics. The genre of the story is horror, but we can say that we also have suspense in the mix. Let's talk about the plot. In Echoes, we are following the story of Brian Cohen, a man with schizophrenia who learns his father may have been a serial killer. Brian is visiting his dying father in the hospital. His father also has schizophrenia and Alzheimer's disease. In his final breath, he tells Brian an address. He's speaking cryptically about dead girls. All that talking makes Brian go to some kind of investigation. He goes to a house that his father was mumbling about. There, Brian, after investigating a few rooms, starts to feel and listening to some sounds. After a while, he starts to freak out, and worse, his smartwatch starts to ring and message him that his medication time is overdue. Even his pregnant wife calls him to make sure that he is taking the pills. He tries to find water to take with his medicine, but the house plumbing is broken, and a black dirty water comes out of the taps. Brian starts to talk to himself, saying that it's going to be just fine, just a little longer without medication. He soon will be at a convenience store buying water. So he goes to the basement, and after poking around, he discovers a fake wall that leads to a torture room with some... I don't want to give you spoilers, but things are going to become confusing, scary, and dark from now on. Brian is going to find a gory treasure in the trails of the house, and his life is going to become a fight between him and his disease. It is worth to discussing some topics. The story brings an interesting point of view about a very heavy and sometimes taboo subject. Brian's disease maybe turns him into some kind of unreliable narrator. Here in Echoes, we can't be sure that all we are witnessing are real or not. Schizophrenia is a disease who can make a person to create his own characters, sounds, voices, narratives, and a person that is not under the medication can see and believe in things that are not really there. All the pressure that is over Brian, the dying dad, the pregnant wife, the disease and the fear of being overwhelmed under it, can make him a tic-tac bomb, always at the verge of explode, a very complex and dangerous situation. And here, it's nice to discuss some reference that we can find in the comic. We can see inspiration on the 1960 horror film Psycho, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. In both stories, the characters are driven by drama rather than the horror. The creator of the story called it aching dark, and in my opinion, the art by Joshua Hale lends for the narrative a great atmosphere, something elusive, dangerous, with reference from Warren publishing horror comic books, creepy and eerie from the 1960s and 70s. The artist is trying to visually represent the suffering and the darkness of a serious mental disorder. The black and white art in an already dark story feels even more morally ambiguous, very edgy in my opinion. Just one thing, for me, Joshua Hale art reminds me of the art of The Walking Dead. I mean, her black and white style looks like what we found in the early issues of The Walking Dead. You know, the art of Tony Moore. Anyways, For me, the combo of art, narrative, theme, plot, and dialogues are very good. Echoes was well received and had mostly positive reviews. The comic was even indicated for 7 Harvey Awards. So, for Echoes, I give 4 ink cartridges. But don't take my words for granted. Go read,